varying degrees of successful, I think. What are the biggest challenges you're having where you are right now? We'll start here and go over.
For me right now, it's the long lead. It's keeping us interested in that long lead process, right? It's getting the lead is easy now.
Yeah.
You can get one, but it's now the game has switched to, okay, well, how can we stay relevant and important throughout the 2 years that it takes? That's the struggle, and without burning out on that lead.
So what are you doing to stay long-term in touch?
That's the focus for 2020, is to improve it.
Nothing. The answer is nothing. I'm doing nothing.
Well, on a short form, we use RealVolve, so it's using a CRM to help kind of, set that reminder to, okay, all right, do something. You see the automated come through, but it's more than that, right? And those old school ways of keeping in touch and
belly to bellies,
but it's how, what do we, and then also bringing it back to, okay, as a consumer, what do I actually want? Do I want to be reached out to every week? No. And so it's that balance of trying to find that right thing. So, and talking to you, but
it's tough. It's tough. I feel for you.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that. But I want to hear what the other challenges are. Then we'll come back and as a group just solve them for people.
I think
so
that's a valid
here
challenge for most people, though. And it's always like a priority thing. There's always the concept of we have urgent, important, and unimportant, and unurgent, or whatever the whole system is. And it's always like those things that you can reach out to these people, but you have something current going on. So it ends up being one of those things that unless you have it really put into your systems and stuff, or you've made a plan for it and you recognize the priority of it, then it's one of those things that gets left out, which is often what leverage is good for.
How are you generating leads right now? Where are these leads coming in from?
Blog and through Google, number one.
So you're name, email, phone number, people interested in houses, basically.
Yeah.
So how often do you get a new listing?
We're right now, I'd say one a week.
So there's an email every week to all those leads being like, hey, we got a new listing in Barrhaven.
No, because it's not what they wanted, right?
Yes, they do.
And
why did they reach out? Because they want a house.
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of we have building pages. So I do a lot of condos. So we have building pages. Those have brought in a lot of leads. Are you
segmenting these leads when they come in?
Am I what, sir?
So everyone who comes in off a condo, are they tagged condo lead?
Yeah. But
building,
and then they're going to want specifics either for that building or for similar things. So they don't necessarily want my listing per se. They want listings for a specific building or for a specific property type or a specific price point. And so we'll get them set up on a search, but there's more than that. And it's not just
search, because that's what every agent does.
Yeah.
You gotta do it differently.
See, and that's it.
So there's two options basically. What I would do,
go for that.
One, every time you get a new listing, just email, be like, hey, we got a 2-bedroom condo coming up in Nepean. Are you interested in more detail, or would you like more information? That's the entire email. Or every week, you could do this daily or once a week. Chuck Charlton, I don't know if you met him tonight.
Yeah.
He has 2 lists. One does 5 days a week, one does once a week. And it's just, here's the new listings this week, but here's what I think about them. So every agent can sign you up for their the bullshit, I have 10 agents sending me listings. But if yours is the one that's and this one's a good deal because of this one's a bad deal because of this, now you're set apart from everyone else and it's interesting to them.
It's kind of like taking the daily searches and oh hey, we just saw this, and they get the automated email but saying, hey, you should actually see this, and did you see this one, because we really like it.
And another good one, so go and map out every past client's address. And anytime you have a client who's interested in that area, or you're going to be showing homes in that area, send them a quick email, be like, hey, I'm actually going to be in your area showing a home this week. They haven't found anything they like. Have you heard of anyone thinking of selling in your area? It's quick, it's to the point, and it gets referrals. Every email is not going to get a referral, but it kind of easy to the point, personal, and always top of mind. It just works. If you have one new one a week, even if you're only sending them to like the people who are interested in that type of property, it's still probably at least once a month you're reaching out with something super interesting to them. And the beauty of like the thing where you're emailing being like, if you're, we're showing homes in your area, they haven't found anything like, if you've heard of anyone else thinking of selling, because we have a buyer, now you're making that person the hero to their neighbor if their neighbor's thinking of selling, and people love being the hero. I'm going to pretend this is my idea. It's actually Dean Jackson, so look up Dean Jackson. Dean Jackson's awesome.
I have a question for you too. So, and again, I'm the guy that, I'm talking tomorrow about not buying leads as much, right? And building on relationships with people that I know. So, you talked about Google and that being your number one leads, but what about the people you know? Like,
and that wasn't a priority for me, right? It was. I can put a blog post up over the span of all this time.
And so you're talking about some of your biggest challenge being, I got to follow up with these people for 2 years, right? So like when I built my business, I built it with people I knew, warm leads, right? And my business, like even the question you asked Jessica, like how long did it take you to do your first deal? Like I set up my database and I was reaching out to people that I knew before while I was going through the process of getting my license. I did 3 deals in my first week.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not the typical person that it took 6 months to do a deal because I had people that I knew that were waiting for me to get my license. I did 3 deals in that first week. They were literally waiting for me to get licensed.
And that was a big shift for us this year. Really, it was really not 2019 was to start saying, "Hey,
I think
we know this works."
Like to me, the glory in real estate now is if you can do both.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm a big believer in like mastering one thing. Right. So if your one thing is like the Google ads and doing all this stuff, awesome, like kill it in that, and you're getting a listing a week, kick ass, like that's wicked, right? But add in everybody that you know to that and start doing all the, like if you can master cold leads, imagine what warm leads do for you, right? Like that's so much easier.
Yeah.
So like when you're a master of cold leads, like warm is a joke, right? So put it together and you kill it. Like that will turn into 4 listings a week.
Yeah, like one of the things I like to talk about with people too is like, there's no point even adding that in until you have your data. Like there is a point where like there is diminishing returns on like if you're not adding new people to the database, but you shouldn't be bringing in that many like cold leads until you have it down with your database.
Totally. Like we've mastered database and warm, right? Like I haven't tapped it out to its full, like you can never tap it out to its full degree because it's referrals and all that, and it's a 10% return on the amount of warm leads in it. But now I'm looking at saying like when this video finishes, like I'm gonna have a conversation with Andrew about where do we go now with Facebook ads and cold, right? Because that's the next complement to our business. But we mastered, like I'm 12 years in the business, mastering selling 250 homes a year, warm, right? Now add cold to that, like that's how I get to 500, right? That's the difference. Is it's at complement your business, and so I like the other way too. So you've already mastered the hardest part of the business, which is cold, right? You're doing a great job on that. Now add the warm side to it. Come to my session tomorrow.
But that's what I love about this business is you can always be.
That's what I love about the show.
But that's it. Like I look at it and I say like I would never. I think you gotta, no matter what it is, whatever you decide to do in this business, master one thing.
Yeah.
So if you're like I love what Ado's doing with Agent Locator, like master online leads, awesome. That's the hardest part of the business to me. You got to follow up with those guys for 6 months to a year before you do it, and it's a challenge, right? You said that's your biggest challenge for 2020, right? So awesome. I got guys on my team that door knock. They don't have enough people that they know warm, so they door knock every single day, and they go out and they kill it. But it's got to be consistent every single day.
That was a terrible door knocker,
right? And I've struggled to lead some of these guys because I literally never cold called, door knocked, spent money on leads in my whole life, right? 12 years in the business now, I've never done any of those things, right? But now I'm looking at it saying like, but what if I did, right? So I've mastered my one thing of mastering this. I'll never give that up. That'll always be my core. But what if I add this other thing to it? Now my business can go that much bigger.
Well, if you look at some of the top teams I can guarantee you that almost all of them are based on repeat and referral.
It's huge.
Yeah.
You gotta master that.
So and it very much is like like you said, like master one thing and then do something. Like we go to these conferences and you get a billion ideas and you can't do them all.
No.
Or you implement a little bit.
So here's what I've learned at conferences is bring a pad of paper.
Yes.
And like you're writing down all your ideas, but on the right side have a to-do list.
Yep.
But then under that have just something that says 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
And at the end you look at that to-do list and you rank 1, 2, 3, and you're not allowed to start on number 2 until 1's done.
Yes.
And that's the thing,
That's
right? Like you said, like
but you
mastering.
have to do 3. You can't write any more because even if you put a 4, it just gets overwhelming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you can't go to number 2.
And you got to do it within a week.
Yeah.
So the biggest thing about conferences that I've learned is if you don't implement within a week, you won't do it.
Yeah.
So you got to take your 3 things exactly that. Like tomorrow here's 7 sessions. We're gonna take
I think there's
30
like
pages of
50
notes,
sessions.
Yeah.
right? So like literally, but like we get to do 7 each.
Yeah.
So literally, you're gonna learn that much, but I agree. Like take the 3 most important things that you learned all day and implement them within a week, and your business will change.
But again, don't go to number 2 until 1 is
start
done.
with just
one.
Like don't
Exactly.
do like half-ass 3.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Finish
it.
1, number 2, finish it, then
Yeah.
number 3.
Well, it's like what I said.
Then take 3 more.
Like Chuck Charlton, my favorite guy in the business.
Yeah.
Right? Like Chuck.
It's a common
Sure,
theme.
sure you'll see it. Love him, right?
Yeah.
Like there's nobody I love more, but also the guy that creates the best systems and the best things to do.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy, and then moves on to something else quickly and doesn't master that first, right? So go balls to the wall with that thing, right? And maximize that, and then add something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've mastered database. Like I can keep growing it through it, and it's a slow, gradual play now for me. But the next move now is going to be to add the cold side to it, right? And I've done that through my team and through them adding their side of that too. But it's like, but master one thing first. And I don't force anybody on my team to go the way that I went, because not all of them have the sphere that I had, right? So I naturally had a big sphere. I grew up in the area that I work now, right? So I knew 300 people there. I naturally built a warm database, and I've added to that and grown that since. And now I'll look to add cold to that side of the business through online leads, through Facebook ads, through door knocking, through whatever other avenues we use. People on my team don't have that same, opportunity. Some of them didn't grow up where they're working now. They lived somewhere else and they've moved here, right? So we're building their business through door knocking or cold calling or whatever it needs to be, right? And the next thing for them will be complementing that with the online leads and everything else, right? So it's just about mastering one thing and then complement it with something else. But never give up on the thing that made you.
The consistency, right? And
yeah.
then you're adding, and it's just like marketing where you could splatter a bit of dollars all over the place, but that's not gonna benefit you if you can only do it for a month, right?
Yes.
So it is very much like, okay, what can I do long term well?
That's it.
Yeah.
We like I'm a database master. We tried Agent Locator last year for 6 months, right? And I said I'm only giving it 6 months. That was my rule. I'm like, I'm going to give you guys all 6 months. I didn't take one lead myself. I was like, this is for the team. I've built my database. I'm going to keep doing what I've done. It works. Like, don't fix it.
How much
if it
do
ain't broke.
you still sell versus manage the team?
So with my team now, I'm 30% of our business.
Yeah.
So with my team before the team that I've built now, I was 70%. So it's
You
nice.
eventually
like,
want to get to 0?
not 0. I love selling, so I'll never give it up. And I also believe. So I'm a different believer. Like even I'm with Keller Williams, and they love teaching like the 7th level idea of getting out of the business and being out of the business completely. I don't fully believe in that model completely. I believe that you need to be able to stay relevant to the business, and the best way to do that is to be in it, right? And so if I'm going to be coaching the people that I'm in business with, I need to be doing something in the business and being at least as involved as I can be. So I scale back a little bit every year, but to go to 0, I don't know if I'll ever go to 0.
So you got clarity on your challenge?
Grab another drink.
Beautiful.
Yes, it's beautiful. No,
Do you have
I
any
did.
follow-up questions you want before we go to Jessica's challenge?
No.
You're good?
No.
You're happy?
This is a lot of
It's
one-on-one.
always a work in progress.
What's
right?
your next
Yeah.
to do? What's your next to do?
On our list right now, it's database stuff is really what it is. It's
That's not specific enough. What's your next to do?
It's
true.
I'm
I don't remember. I don't remember.
You're going hard.
I'm trying to see the whiteboard right now, and I can't picture it.
You know what I would do if I was you? How long have you been in Ottawa now? Because I creeped you earlier, and
I grew up there.
Oh, okay. I saw that you were from Toronto earlier.
I was born in Toronto.
Born in Toronto, but lived in
raised
So you've been there for a long time.
Yeah.
So how many people would you say throughout?
It's too many. Yeah, I know.
So 100, 1,000.
How much business are you doing from those people?
Not nowhere near the amount that I could.
Why not?
But that's because I never cared about it.
Do you always?
I never needed to.
You know what's
care
so funny? It's crazy. So I have all these young guys on my team, and I'm the database guy. Like I built my business that way, and I coach these guys from day one. Like build. I've had people before the team that I'm on now on my old team that I coached them before. I had a guy that was a client that I got into the business, bigger database than me, the biggest fear I've ever seen in the business. Told him, like, before I got in the business, I built my database 6 months prior to getting in. I let every single person I know, 350 people, know that I was getting into the business, not in the business. That's why I did the business in the first week, right? And I gave this guy the same opportunity. He didn't reach out to any of them, right? I was like the biggest missed opportunity ever in real estate. The guy could have been a millionaire in a year, 2 years, right? Just by the data. He had a 600 person sphere. He didn't reach out to it at all.
One of my favorite things for spheres, it's a concept from Michael Porter, wrote a book called Book Yourself Solid, and it was always have something to invite them to. So even if it's like a social event, a seminar, or something, but just like always have something that's like on the horizon. Totally. That you could give them something to come see you in person, but in like the beauty of like an event, whether it's like literally, it could just be as simple as, hey, I'm buying apps and people are coming out to have beers here. It's a no pressure way to like introduce yourself to them, or it could be I'm doing a first time buyer seminar.
Well, you're like what you do, like Facebook and online to your sphere. Like everyone's looking at the cold side of it. Everyone's looking at like tapping into the cold side of it, and I believe there's a huge market there that you can tap into. But there's also a huge market of people you know that you can tap into.
Like
there.
our biggest switch that like for us this year is we're talking way more about like literally I've actually made a direction to my team this year. You're not allowed to say leads anymore because we're getting compared to lead gen companies and that's not what we are. And so like I've literally told them like I've taken leads. So like we're actually redesigning a lot of pages on our site, but like we're taking the word leads just off the site. Yeah. And it's more about like, even if it's literally like, hey, here's the cost per lead, it's here's the cost per person who reached out. Like that much of a change.
Especially on social media, right? Like it's huge. Like because if they're on your social media, like you know them.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is that, you know, that 2 year cycle, every lead is a client. Every lead is a person who just doesn't understand
your
what
business.
They're doing. They don't
if you do this,
the
if you go into the people that you know, living in Ottawa as long as you've lived there, you'll blow.
Yeah, like
blow.
I would like double down. Like, hey, you got this lead of agent locator stuff, or is it agent locator? I don't know.
No, it's my blog.
If you're doing it, you're fucking doing it.
It's my blog. Yeah.
So online, just keep that. Now, like everything else you're doing online should be focused on your database until like. What would you say the percentage would be like if this is your database?
I get over 10%.
Yeah,
so I'm 10 to 11%.
Number of our top guys are
right. 10 to at my best, I've been at about 12-13%.
Yeah.
On average, now we're 10 to 11%.
Yeah, normally I hear 8 to 12, so that's pretty. So like, but yeah, so like when you look at your database, until you're at least at 8% of them a year, I wouldn't go adding in these new files because there's still more money in the database.
Yeah. Well, and if you think about just like even the cost to maintain a lead for 2 years that's cold, that's gonna very easily flip to somewhere else, versus the warm lead, which is a much lower cost and also much more enjoyable. But one of the things that I had to struggle with, that maybe you did too, is you don't want to like bug your friends. Now I found like I started to change after I became I guess like experienced, right? So like you get the confidence, which you should have now.
Yes.
And now I look at like I've had friends, I've had family go to other people that I'm like, no, like they're not gonna really take care of you, and that scares you. And so I think like the confidence level of being like, no, I'm gonna give you the best service, and that's why you have to go with me. And that's the biggest thing that I have found about the database is that it's not just like it's not just like for my benefit, it's because I care about those people and I don't want them to go with a shitty agent.
You don't need to come to the conference tomorrow. You're good.
It's already done.
Yeah,
It's already done.
9 a.m. man, 9 a.m.
Yeah, hit the road back to Ottawa.
The biggest,
Straight to a client's house.
the biggest. It's funny because I have a young team. Like the average age of my team is under 30 years old, and so most of these guys are new in the business, and and have been in for a couple of years, and then we take them on our team, and they all don't want to talk to the people that they know, and it's this confidence idea. It's this idea that they don't want to burn that bridge with the person they know because they don't feel
It's
confident
awkward.
enough.
They don't want to burden them.
They don't wanna
That's it.
Yeah.
And so they're more. There's no.
Where I am now. Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that shit. Let's
Yeah,
find.
but
Let's
now-
find
Now you're
another
a
way to do
disease.
it.
But even and I want to say it for even the people that are watching that are like that are new. The reality is, like, okay, so think about you've gone the cold way. Think about how long it takes to build that relationship and trust and rapport with that person to the point where they want to.
So one of the differences that's interesting is not necessarily a cold lead, and I look at them actually as a warm lead coming in because these people have been reading. It's kind of like if I did a lot of video, except I don't
Content
like
marketing.
a lot of videos.
Yeah.
Content marketing.
Which
So
is different
Video's
from
overrated
leads.
so
anyway.
they're kind of
That's a
coming
whole
into me
separate topic.
warm. I'm getting a listing call
I was doing
going,
video.
hey, yeah, this is what you do.
You've been
Come
following me for a
on
while.
this.
They know you almost.
Yeah.
It is a little
Could be
bit different, so that's
Yeah.
where now I'm looking at it like, oh, I don't need to deal with that because they're already warm.
So keep doing it.
But
I would never say stop.
But now it's like, okay, we aren't getting what we want in the repeat and follow up, so let's turn that up a notch.
You're getting
'Cause I'm not
the reality is you're
yeah,
getting a
That
listing a
going,
week,
but work
right?
the database.
You're getting a listing a week that way.
Yeah.
But imagine if you added the warm into it. You
That's-
probably have a 300 person database that you don't even realize, right? And if you talk about 10% of that, that's 30 deals a year
Yeah.
from your database, right? That's add that onto the 52 listings that you're getting a year because you're doing a listing a week. That's 82 deals right there, and then add the rest that you get. You're probably over 100 transactions.
You need to go on Instagram and watch the Just Sell Homes latest video on the Dean Jackson listing multiplier index.
Yeah, I watched it. Wicked.
Fucking brilliant, right?
I messaged you. I was
Yeah,
like,
so
this is-
Dean Jackson, again, we're gonna plug him because
He's
he's
just a
fucking
genius.
brilliant. Like,
Just a genius.
Is that who that's
How do you
from?
spell
It's-
it?
It was
Dean
wicked.
Jackson, the listing
It was
multiplier index.
wicked.
So basically, what the idea is take your last 10 listings that you had, and each one you have potential 5 points.
Yes.
So you get 1 point for selling the house,
Okay.
1 point for repping the buyer, 1 point for getting a buyer for another property off the house, 1 point for just oh god, imagine like fuck, we've had like 10 of them. So you get another point for getting a listing in the neighborhood, and another point for a referral from the seller. And so you take your last 10 listings, that gives you a score out of 50, divide by 10, and you get your number between 1 and 5. So the most agents are between a 0.8 and a 1.2. The best agents are around 3.
Wow.
So imagine if you're at the level of the best agents. That means for every listing you take, there's another 2 deals on top of selling that house coming. But think about that. Like,
comfort level's
do
high.
this
No, but
exercise.
see, what's really cool is as soon as you're talking about this, I'm thinking about the exercise that you guys did at your
Climb Mastermind.
mastermind. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, yeah, let's pinpoint pushing those little reminders in, or those prompts to tell your client this, or to
But
all of those
look at
little
those 5 things,
Yeah.
and don't look at them as a group. Start with 1, and be like, what can I do to increase this? And then you look at number 2, what can I do to increase this?
Yeah.
And that's where you should focus on now. Because if you're getting a listing a week, and like say I don't know what your score is, and you probably don't off the top of your head, have no idea. You'd have to calculate
Whoa,
it.
I can guarantee you.
Let's say it's so. Let's assume you sell all 10 listings.
Mhm.
So you got a 1 baseline there for you. Because I assume in Ottawa it's at least a good enough market. You're selling them all. Fair.
Close. I got
So-
one falling apart right
So
now.
let's.
But you'll sell it again.
Yeah, but the last 10 before that. But anyway, so basically you're probably between like a 1 and a 1.5, I would guess.
Okay.
Even just taking from a 1.5 to a 2.
Yeah.
How much more money is that for you at the end of the day? If you think of that, so like every listing you get means you get another deal. If you're getting one
Yeah.
a week, you're already over 100 deals a year.
Yeah.
And that's the only change you've had to make is how can I leverage this listing to an extra deal and the listing multiplier index, which is why I just find Dean so brilliant.
It's the best.
So there's 2 pieces of this that's brilliant. 1, the whole concept of it, And the other is he's created a metric that's proprietary to him that his system perfectly helps you improve.
Yes.
So you have to go to him to improve it. And it's fucking, from a marketing positioning, he's fucking brilliant. And then the whole concept itself is brilliant.
Yeah.
I nerd out on Dean because he's just the best. But like, think of that, like, with your listings, what can you do?
Yeah.
Because if you have one a
And just
week,
start with one thing. Like, don't get overwhelmed with.
And that's what
I do a lot. Is like you can. I think the thing is often you're probably the same way, and you probably were the same way. We all probably are the same way. In that, like, we love business, and it's that perfectionist thing too, where like if you don't do it all perfectly,
done's better than perfect.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Like, I think that listing index, you want to not focus on all 5 of those options, but just improve one.
Yes.
And
then once that's good, you go to the next.
Yeah, and again, like mastering that one before you try and do all of them.
Yep.
Okay, so enough about Matt.
Yeah.
We've got
You're gonna kill it this year.
Yeah. Just so now you.
Cheers
Wait.
this year.
Cheers to Matt.
What's your one to do? Let's go.
I still can't remember.
Go to the conference tomorrow. His goal is to go to the conference tomorrow.
Watch Dean Jackson's list.
Yeah.
All right.
Everyone's just gonna watch
Next
Dean.
up, what is the challenge you're having in your business, Jessica?
Do you want to introduce this beer first?
Oh, sure. So, I mean, we can't really talk about beer that much,
So rude.
but this is the
my
Spearhead
show.
Brewing
Holy
There are
hell,
clients.
What?
There are clients.
Well,
they
that's
just built
very
that brewery, right? Recently.
So tag them in the comments.
Yeah.
What, in Kingston?
Here,
Yes.
or here.
There
How
are
are they your clients?
There are clients. We sold their house in Milton and then they moved to Kingston.
Oh.
Nice.
Well, that's
They're
cool.
us.
Yeah, so they're awesome.
Fun connection over a pint.
Beer.
They're
No, but they actually have like a really great brewery.
They're
They do tons of fun events all the time. My favorite thing is that it's become like behind the scenes brewery events.
Do you host events there? So it was actually an episode of Over Pint. Let's see if you watched this one. Did you watch one of the women from Charlotte?
The Woman from Charlotte.
Yeah.
Sounds like a weird movie.
Savvy and Co Real Estate. So this
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that.
brilliant first time seminar thing they figured out. So
Yeah.
and they kill, like they get a few deals every
I've
time they do
actually
it.
thought about that.
So
though. Yeah.
they figured it out, and like the detail that they figured out for first time buyer seminars, like everything is. So they always host it at a brewery, but it has to be a brewery where it's a huge room, and they're not putting a side room. So in the back of the room where everyone else who's drinking can see them, and they have to have standing tables only. There's no presentation. You have someone at the front taking registrations. And then when someone registers, that person leads them to a table where an agent is standing, introduces them to an agent, and it's a conversation instead of a presentation.
Wicked.
And that's how they do it.
We're doing one right now at a bar, and what we're having is so it's at a bar, and so everybody gets a drink ticket, and then we have food going around. And it's different stations instead of a seminar.
Yeah.
Because
That's pretty similar.
millennials don't want a seminar.
Yeah.
Right.
Their
And
eyes
so I had
glaze over
hosted.
and after 20 minutes.
That's
Their
it.
eyes are just like.
So
I
for
can't
us,
do
it
this.
was there's a section with a lawyer, a section with a mortgage broker, a section with a realtor, and there's a realtor that walks them through each section, and they can actually choose to bypass sections if they're not.
They
interested,
already have a
'cause-
mortgage broker.
Exactly.
They'll skip
So
that.
it says what each section is, and they're going that way, and it's a
That's
different
what I gotta
experience.
do because
But I love,
ours was like
for them, that
glazed.
detail of they even figured out sitting versus standing
Yes.
tables.
Genius.
That they have.
And even the people behind like watch,
Yeah.
so they're gaining.
Well, that's
their
why it has
interest.
to be in the open, because people are like, "What's going on?
What's going
over
on
here?"
there?
And whether they come to that or just be like, "Let me know the next time you're doing it."
Yeah.
So smart.
No,
And
I
they're
like
just
that.
So smart.
Just that level of detail. Like we've done this so many times that it has to be a standing table. There's no presentation. Every agent's at one. Someone doesn't just say go to that table. They lead them there and then introduce them to the agent, and it's just one-on-one.
They've
Yeah.
perfected.
Yeah, like they've nailed it, and it's always a brewery because the brewery is the most effective way to do it.
So smart.
Like I just
millennials.
Well, there's something
Yeah, which
is the
about
first
drinking a
time
beer that
exactly.
maybe like lowers the inhibitions, gives them a bit of.
That's why they-
Sure, I'll
Let's
buy
see.
2 houses.
Over a pint.
I mean, beer makes things good.
It makes it so much better.
All right. So next up, Jessica, what's the biggest challenge you're having in your business right now?
So my biggest challenge right now is I'm trying to add a field agent. And it's crazy intimidating to find someone who's going to fit in a small... So I feel like maybe if you have 10 people already, getting one, and if it doesn't work out, losing one may not be as big of a deal. But we're like a small group of 3 where I'm selling. I have a licensed admin, and then I have another part-time admin. So our systems are going great. and I want to add someone that's going to be sales, and that's
So
the challenge.
before they weigh in, because they both have
I
teams,
know, I'm
and they're
excited to
gonna
hear
be
what people say.
Great insight, because I've also been growing my team a little bit differently.
Yeah.
It's the biggest mistake I've ever made is hired when I need to.
I know.
And
That's why I'm trying to look at it now.
I have to hire for fit. Like, I will train
Yeah.
whoever needs to be trained. So, like, one of the things that's actually been a big difference for us is just, like, little things of adding, like, one, like, all my job ads, like, there's point to how I'm writing them. Like, the first line was like, hi, do you like the old interwebs? And, like, stupidly written for a reason. And then, like, at the end, I buried a line that says, by the way, like, when you're writing your cover letter, let us know the name of our Facebook group for real estate agents. Because that is the easiest thing to find.
I
it's on
am
our
a big
website,
fan
it's on
of
the
hoops.
page.
Putting hoops in front of people.
But it's just that one. Like, do you get one, either don't answer it or get it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting it wrong applying for a social media marketing position.
You're
out.
way.
But, like,
Yeah.
Culture, but that's why you only
Yeah.
hear about hiring for culture.
Yeah, I will, like, Facebook, just as an example, like, if we're advertising listings, like, we'll average $1 to $5 a lead. Like, it's easy to get leads off listings. I can, on the second day you work for me, get you to get a $2 lead. Like, that, it's a system, you just follow my system, it works.
Yeah.
But I can't, on day 2, make you not an asshole.
And that is the lesson here.
Culture over everything.
And I think
Always.
that's the only way
Wins.
that people
Yeah.
are going to be able to stay with a company of any kind, and is that culture and feeling like there's a value and a purpose for them to be there. I think there's so many companies that if you look at like the bigger companies or a small company, that if they don't see a passion in that actual company, that it's a short-term thing regardless.
So, one thing that, like, what works really well being an agent, different than, like, say, like my business, is you're doing deals every day, maybe not every day, but with people that could be team members at some point. So, like, every time you do a deal, think, okay, who's on the other side,
Think,
rate
not
them
that
out
person.
of 10,
Not that person.
give them a 4 out of 10, and then say, and
yeah.
then under that, is this someone I would consider for my team?
know.
Everyone who gets a yes on that and a 9 or 10, invite them to coffee. And then it's like nurturing and follow-up, right? Like, it's not you're going to invite them onto your team this month,
I know.
but you stay in touch, because maybe they're
There's
not
people
the
I
right
could
now,
right now,
but a
I'm
year
like,
from now,
I
maybe
don't
their
know if they
business is what they
would.
want.
Yeah.
But you just stay in touch. You never know how someone's
I know.
situation might, or like they
Yeah.
get pregnant and they're
I
going to
wanna
have
give
a
them that
kid
freedom.
and they need
Yeah.
that support.
Oh.
They need the team structure.
It's such a passion, yeah.
So you're nurturing them the same way you're long-term nurturing leads. You're nurturing the future
And
team
that's all
members.
new to me, because I was always just myself for a million years. And now I'm like, okay, I'm going to be extremely picky.
But you've already done it with your clients.
Yeah, I guess.
Right? It's a,
So you just do a
it's the
database.
exact
You guys
same
keep
thing.
going. Bathroom break.
Build a bench with it.
Yeah.
So like one of the secrets to
Build
like
a
building
bench
a
with it.
team. So like
Farm team.
part of what I do is I build a bench. So I'm constantly having meetings with people that fit the future of our business. So if you haven't already built out a vision of where you want your business to go, build a vision. So I have a huge vision map of like what our business looks like in the next 10 years. Right? And so I know that part of our goal right now is to get each of our, like we have our core group of team members now that are all high producing agents, and we want them to all become $1 million real estate agents. Right? So each one of them, we want to have $1 million business. Right? And we know that they can't do that on their own. There's very few, if
so you
any,
have like mini teams within your team.
yeah, but and that's what basically happens. And so we've basically introduced each one of them to having licensed assistants under them, right, as they're ready for it. And so what we're doing now is, so we're ready for it already. We already have those people under us. And now what we're doing is we're bringing on a bench of people that are fit for that role, so that when our team's ready for that, we have them to pass on. And so we're using them in a part-time role for us, and then we're pushing them off in a full-time role to the team.
So you're helping your team members get people.
Exactly.
Because you already have
So I've
that
already built a
system.
bench. I already have a bench of people
You just
that
call someone up.
and so then I just call that person up. I have a list of 10 people.
How do you
10
find
candidates.
those people to even put on your bench?
So the key, how many conferences have I been to where the number one thing they'll say is, why would they go to you?
Yeah.
And look what he's just told. He's like, we're helping them help the next, like we're helping everybody.
So
Like,
yeah,
we're
so
providing
the
so
biggest
much
thing
value.
is if you have that vision map of where everyone goes and how they grow. So think about yourself. If you
see the
if you were
potential future.
if I
Yeah.
recruited you and we had a meeting and I said, Jessica, this is where I see you fitting into our vision, right? You're going to be one of our top producers, and I'm going to build a team through you, and I'm going to help you add people to your team, right? I'm going to add licensed assistants to you that start with us, and then we're going to pass them on to you. We're going to grow your business that way, and we're going to help you develop your business and grow you into $1 million real estate agent.
Yeah.
And you're doing $250,000 right now. Isn't that attractive? Right?
Especially because there's so many people that are like, can you join me to help me?
Yes.
And I want to make sure that it is
Nobody
a fit.
cares about that. They
Well,
care
and
about
that's
the-
like great.
I-
yeah, exactly.
This is what's crazy. I give 0 leads to my team. 0. I don't give them.
But
any-
you're giving them
give
so much
0 leads.
value.
Totally.
In
Like
yeah.
every day, so Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they get a coaching tip from me. Every Friday, I do accountability with them, where I'm holding them accountable to what they've set as their goal, what their why is, right? Why they want to hit the goal that they have.
Yeah.
And I'm coming back to them saying, did you do the tasks this week to hit the goal that you want to
Yeah.
hit, right? And then on top of that, I'm looking at them saying, okay, this is where your business is at. This is where you want to go. This is where we want you to go and become $1 million real estate agent.
Yeah.
And this is what you need to do to get there. You need to have a licensed like showing assistant. You need to have a licensed listing assistant, right? Both of those things plus this person, right? And we're helping you build those people out, right?
Isn't
And
it
that's
like-
their plan.
yeah.
And I have 8 people on my team now, and each one of them, we're working on doing that for them over the next 5 years.
It's
right?
super intimidating when you hear that.
I know.
So when you don't come from a team background,
Yes.
Yeah.
it's super intimidating. You're like, well, I don't know, like what do I do, or how do I say this, or what like, right? And that's
It's
but
crazy.
at the same time, you just kind of
It's bigger things though, right? It's an
And I
organization.
think, yeah, like
And
it's
that's
definitely like
your role.
the
You're already
balance
doing it.
there.
You're already doing
Yeah.
it. So the biggest thing to think about is, and it depends. If you don't want to grow that big, then this won't be your vision. But you already did it. You have a licensed assistant for yourself. So if you ever bring somebody else on, remember that person, if you want to get a talented, really good person that's going to grow your business really big, they're going to have bigger goals than, like they're going to have big goals for themselves.
They don't
Yeah.
want to be your assistant.
Right.
Exactly.
So you got to think
Yeah.
about them as how can I grow them to where they want to go?
Yeah.
You want to be $1 million real estate agent. They do too.
Yeah.
So how do you do that for them as well?
Yeah.
Right? And that's exactly what it was. Like we know I've done it, so I did it for myself. I grew $1 million real estate business, profitable, net $1 million bucks. Right? So now I say I want to do that for the 8 people that join me that are talented, that I see as talented people
Yeah.
to do that with, and now I just give them the exact same formula that I followed and say go do it.
Isn't it funny? Like, so I had this
So
theory
simple.
the other day, though, in that, like, where were teams 20 years ago?
Right.
But the reason.
But that was a brokerage 20 years ago.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you join a brokerage and you get none of that.
None.
But
Yeah.
now you're offering all these, like, you're offering a
Teams
transaction
are now
coordinator,
the new
admin.
brokerage.
I think you're gonna
Yeah.
see that shift though.
Because
yeah.
If you look
back,
forward and you
well,
don't
back
see
in
that
the
shift
day,
without-
it was like brokerages were all 50-50 splits and
Yes.
treated like a team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
that's true.
Remax,
Yeah.
they weren't the one who brought it in, but popularized the like. They basically that's why they call themselves the home of the top producers because what
Yeah.
they did is they'd go to a neighborhood or a city and be like 20 top producers. You're just going to share costs here.
Yeah.
Now because it got so big, they expanded to just like we just need more agents to do it,
Yeah.
and it kind of ruined the original Remax model that way.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And now it's gone back to what we used to be a brokerage is now
Yeah.
provided by a team.
And that's why we're seeing a lot of teams break off and just become a brokerage because they're
well,
already
that's more
doing it all.
incorporate. Well, that's half the incorporation thing. They just need to
Yes.
incorporate because you
It's
can't
that,
Ontario.
yeah.
But there's also the ones who are
Like this year when we're able to incorporate,
yeah.
change everything.
Yeah.
Like, so
This
much
year?
money.
It's gonna
Do you know
happen.
what? There's an agent I was talking to.
That says
Brilliant.
Ottawa versus
He-
Mississauga.
So there's an agent I met who incorporated a brokerage.
incorporated.
So he
Good.
opened a brokerage in Alberta, and every deal here he does 100% referral to his brokerage in Alberta because that's incorporated. So if you look at
I
him,
love that guy.
if you do that, so like if you look him up, he does zero, like almost nothing technically, but in Alberta he's like a great agent,
Yes.
but there's nothing
hilarious.
there.
Genius.
Oh, wow.
And I know a few other people who like have to do these like roundabout ways to incorporate.
We've done we built a management company.
Yeah.
We have an admin co, and we basically 70% we can incorporate.
Yeah.
That's how ours is. So it's not 100%. So we're
Yeah.
hoping that
Once that comes
Yeah.
in, yeah.
something goes.
Yeah.
So are you good on your challenge? Like you have a direction. What's your
Yeah.
to-do?
Oh,
What's
no,
your
she
to-do?
needs something else. She needs a little bit more.
Well, I think she's the one to just say if she needs something more.
I don't
You're
know.
so hard on him, though.
No,
Yeah.
that's where we're at to get.
This shit.
But because you
Come
have
on.
a fucking to-do. What's your to-do right now? Like, this is something
I just
that
don't
I'm
feel
gonna
like
take
we
action.
gave you the best.
Well, that's why we have to find out if she has a
answer.
to-do yet.
No, we don't.
What's your
Yeah.
to-do? Your challenge recruiting. What's your to-do?
My to-do would be to start having coffee with people and reaching out.
Yeah.
Because
Do
I
you know
have
what
a
your
list of
ideal
people.
agent is too, though? Like, it's not just like there's new agents. There's
I know.
people in the industry 20
Yeah.
years, kind of just doing like 15, 20 deals a year, and you want to help them. Or there's new agents, young and hungry, but they just
Yeah.
can't get over the hill. Like, to you, what's your ideal?
I see value in all three. So right now, I see value in the middle person who's doing, some stuff, but then it's all by themselves, and I want to offer them some freedom, some help, and to streamline it so they can have a better home life or whatever they need, and to grow their business. And then we have agents in our industry that are older and they don't want to get into technology, and we can offer that, and then maybe they can just do their thing and we can do the social stuff that they're trying to struggle with. And then there's new agents that are hungry that there's value for as well. But I know that a lot of people caution me against newer agents. So what do you guys think?
I've done both. The biggest challenge with new agents is the time that you got to spend
Yeah.
with them. So I still sell, right?
Yeah.
So I know that I'm the person that's more or less training that person, albeit we do use, the rest of our team and the skills that they have, and have them help train.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, like, I gotta always say, if I'm selling, I know that my time spent in my business is worth X.
Do you have a formal onboarding process for agents?
Oh yeah, massive.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
You're so organized.
We
I love
are.
it.
We have huge systems. Systems are everything. But it's massive. Like, for that person coming on, like, they know exactly what they're going. Like, we have somebody right now, but he's been in commercial for 15 years, and so now he's coming into residential, and so he's brand new in residential. So we're treating him like a brand new agent.
Did you create all your systems on your own?
With the help of other, with the people that are on my team, and
Yeah. But it
It's
wasn't
not like
like
you hired a coach and
Yeah.
they built
No.
them and then you
No, yeah, we did them all. Systems are basically the processes that you're already using.
just run down.
So, like,
Yeah.
listings, we just wrote down all the everything that we do.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
became
my
the
favorite
system.
exercise for that zone is like, it's called the end then process. So it's like,
Yes.
all right, you get a new listing, and then what do? You write
Yeah.
down, and then
Yes.
what?
And then
And then what? And you just do that
That's
until
your system.
nothing
Yeah.
is left.
And that's exactly every single thing. So it was like, we had somebody come on last year, at the beginning of last year, and then it was like, we started training them, and then it was like, they got into it, and then it was like, they're missing this. So we wrote it down. We're like,
Gotcha.
they need to do this.
So that's
And
how
then
you
we went
perfected
through
your
it.
onboarding process.
Exactly. And
yeah.
so then it was like, oh shoot, they missed this. So we failed. We failed like 4 times. Like, our last 4 hires were failures.
Now, do these hires reach out to you because you're a top producer, or do you go after them?
So there's a mix. We're like so I switched. We started at the beginning of last year. I hired a growth person that was literally going to be going on 30 recruiting appointments a month. That was their job.
Wow.
And our goal was to hire 15 people
How
by
many
the end of the year.
agents are in your, are you part of Treb?
I'm part of Treb.
Oh, okay.
I belong to 12 boards. So
Yeah, you're in that shitty area.
we have a lot of.
Oh
we do
my
a lot
God.
of. Yeah. Regionals. I mean, regionals help that, but like, we have a lot of
Oh.
memberships.
That's
So,
intense.
but what we did is the biggest thing for us was we realized that people are really, for us, we actually fired that person, and we went back to our vision, which was just grow organically, and we actually pour into the people that are with us already. We found our like core group of really talented agents, and now we just, if somebody comes to us and they're a fit, we take them through like an extensive process
Yeah.
to hire them.
What I just heard you say is that you just started running your business like how you actually run your real estate business.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's
Right?
exactly the same.
Why try and get cold leads
Exactly.
when we can work on
And that's
the people that are
it. And
coming
so that was
Yeah.
exactly it. It was exactly the same thing. We started going that way, and it was like, what are we doing? This is not us. Right? So know who you are. Like,
Yeah.
if you're that person, so we were like, I'm the warm guy.
And how long did it take you to learn who you were in this case?
So like literally we we did our first year with KW. Like I partnered and I built a new team, and it was 1 year, and we were the number 3 team in Canada. So we were like, we got this ego. All these people were telling us how amazing we were, and then I was like, okay, we're gonna grow. We're gonna go crazy. We're gonna be number 1 next year. I'm like, we're hiring a growth coach. We're gonna add 30 people to our team
Because that's what you do.
Yeah, and we're gonna be this massive team next year.
To KW.
And then I was like, we had already drawn up a vision at the start of that year, and I was like, wait, like none of this fits our vision. We have to train all of these people as they come in. We got to coach them. We got to recruit them. I got to be the final say. I got to do all of these things. I got to train them.
Too.
Right? I got to be a part of that process.
Yeah,
I'm still selling. I'm still trying to sell 80 homes myself.
Yeah.
Want to pass the?
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So that was the reality. That was the mindset shift. Like I was like, I can't. There's no way I can do that. So I was like, let's go
That's the
organic.
biggest thing here, right? And the hardest thing to realize
Totally.
is what you want and where you want to see things. And even the fact that you sat there and you were able to plan out where you want to be and what you want to see.
Yep.
Right.
We ended up firing that person, and literally we didn't hire one person last year.
Thanks.
And our team still grew from the year before because we poured back into the great agents that we had. Started growing
sometimes
them.
that is exactly.
We
what
actually
you
lost a
have to
person.
do.
We went down one agent,
Wow.
and we did more than the year before because everybody grew, right? Because we poured into those people instead of adding 5 agents. That maybe then that causes some of our. We have such a great culture with the agents that we already have. So
You
we
have to
would've-
be careful with that.
We
too,
could have
right?
lost some of
Yeah.
our great agents because of adding more people.